With me in the studio are two special guests, Dr. Jack Taunton, a running pioneer, having co-founded the Vancouver Sun Run and founded the Vancouver Marathon. Dr. Taunton is a professor at UBC Faculty of Medicine and a medical director with Fortius Sports and Health. He is the principal investigator for the injury prevention study. And Maha Ilashe, a student in the UBC Environmental Physiology Laboratory, who's completing her Master's of Science in Kinesiology under the supervision of Dr. Michael Cole. Maha is a research manager of the study founded by the Nike Research Foundation. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. So let's talk about the injury prevention study, the phase 1. What does it consist of?
Well, the initial study was the largest study that we have done over a 20-year period with the Nike Global Foundation. And the objective of this study was to answer two things. One, gender. Were women more at risk, for running injuries, as a number of people had felt? And two, could we identify risk factors that were related to running pain, an injury? So the first study that Maha coordinated, we had some 90 women that trained 12 weeks and ended with a 10K race, some 80 men. And they were extensively, evaluated in terms of their strength, their flexibility, their balance, their leg length, what type of alignment did they have, so that we had these baseline measures. So then, as Maha then trained, and likewise they trained the 12 weeks and the 10K run, then Maha could then analyze the injuries and see if these extensive number of baseline tests that we had, did they correlate to injury? And Maha, you can take over from there. Maha is definitely the heart and the soul of all of our studies. She makes sure that the individuals do the training and then report back to us on a very regular basis in terms of their function. How are they doing? Are they improving? And what about pain?
So yes, as Jack said, we had two studies. The first is when everybody undertook the 12 weeks of running, preparing for the 10-kilometer race. And before that, we had undertaken all these baseline variables that we measured. So all the hip strength variables, the training history, the injury history. And so we took all these variables and we tried to see over the 12 weeks in all these different muscle groups and joints in the lower extremity, whether they felt any more pain for women in certain areas or men in other areas. And we did find that there were differences between males and females. So for males, we found that the training factors of their hip abductors were very important to having running pain. Q angle was actually quite a surprise for us to find, but males' Q angle was very important for pain. And we also found that any baseline variable pain, so anything that was recorded in week 0 of the study, whether they had pain below their knee, was contributing to their pain in the final week of the 12-week running program. So that's for males. For females, we found that anything from the gluteal region below is contributing to their pain in week 12 from their baseline values. We also found that the training variables, so how frequently they trained or how often they trained, was also contributing to their pain.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, as Maha has indicated, we saw different types of injuries, men versus women, but contrary to what most individuals would have predicted, women did not get injured more than men.
And I wasn't surprised. You weren't surprised.
We were surprised.
You were surprised.
Because some of our research that we've done over this 20-year period would have suggested that the women, possibly because of their alignment, wider hips tend to have knock knees, and that's related to that Q angle that Maha has indicated, possibly not as strong in their hip girdle, their quadriceps, as men. We had predicted initially with some other studies that they were factors, potentially could have been factors causing injuries. So men and women, no significant difference, but the injuries are different. And hence these baseline factors that we looked at in the men, as Maha has said, your hip abductors, your side leg lifters, they were a contributor for the males, not for the females. In terms of the men, in terms of that angle, wider hips tend to have knock knees. We call that the quadricep or the quadricep muscle angle. That was a factor for men in terms of producing pain and an injury in the men, not within the women itself.
Right.
And so Maha now looking at, and Maha is now analyzing and getting ready to defend her thesis for the women itself. What do you feel are the most significant results that you've identified from this study?
Yes, so our sneak peek into our results would be that the women's vertical postural stability index, so breaking that down, it's basically when you're running and you're in mid stance and you're trying to balance on one foot. We found that the vertical component of that force was very important for predicting pain in women, particularly in the right leg. We're not quite sure as to why. Maybe the right could be dominance of the foot, but we'll be looking into that a little bit further.
So balance is critical. And that it is only recently in running groups and training clinics have individuals concentrated, on single leg, balance. In our study, the right leg appears to be more a significant factor in terms of that balance. And so the balance is important, along with the actual your dynamic balance as you land on the ground, but also looking at imbalances between your musculature of the hip girdle itself. And as we indicated, the men was the big factor were the side leg lifters.
Right. Well, important to have this study, and I thank you very much for coming on the show, and I'd like to have you come back.
Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Sue.
thank you very, very much.